Starting to see some chemistry on that top line with Huberto, Lindholm, and Toffoli?
I think they're going to have to play a lot of games before that happens.
What was the rationale? I don't know if you said anything this morning about putting Backlund on the wing.
I think just not just Michael and Blake to play with Naz tonight. Those guys play the right way all the time. Doesn't really matter position.
What have been your impressions of Mackenzie Weegar so far?
I think he's a really good student of the game. He's a very coachable player. I think that he's he's learning how we play, things like that. And he's making strides in it. He's a good player.
Does his skill set and do his strengths fit the way you guys want to play pretty well, do you think?
Yep, very well.
Jacob Markstrom, pretty good outing.
Yeah, that's good. Get him a couple periods, work him back in. Solid. I think he's worked really hard the whole camp. He's out early and stays late, puts a lot of work in.
I guess, was it good to see Dustin Wolf sort of come into the third and get a little bit of work in?
Yeah, we've tried to play him lots. He played in Penticton and trying to get him in as many as we can.
Has anything kind of surprised you this camp, or are things progressing as expected?
Yeah, you know what? We're a weekend. It's 1 week. That's what I said. Remember this? I talked about the three parts of it. So we got.
Unexpected might have come up for you, or anyone who might have stepped up in a way that you might not
Oh,
have
you mean
anticipated?
personnel-wise?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that there's no like a top pick or anything that's supposed to be jump out at you. I think there's still a lot of school for a lot of our young players.
Where are you hoping they pick up, those young players? Where are you hoping they learn during these weeks?
Hoping they what?
Where are you hoping they learn?
Hope's dangerous. They are learning.
Your 2 games where you've had your veteran squads,
Yeah.
you haven't allowed a goal yet. I mean, that's symbolic of how
We're just pretty much the older guys have played at home when you look at it. I'm going to be very cautious of that for sure. So, we're trying to put our structure in place, but at the same time, the individual's got to get a little selfish, put the work in.
Did you see some flashes from your power play, the first unit there?
They had. I think the first one was pretty much the whole 2 minutes in there. As they're going to have to, because there's so many new guys that are going to, at the top end there that, they're going to have to just get a little bit more selfish in training camp, right, in terms of the shooting and not always looking and things like that.
Rasmus made a point of saying that he wants to shoot more. He wants to double his shots per game, basically. Do you agree with that assessment of him, and what you expect on him on the power play?
Yep, I think Rasmus is coming into his own. So, we've talked to him since I came here about, how much our defense has to shoot and more take advantage of that, the shot volume part of it, and quality shot volume. So he'll get better at it for sure because he wants to.
For you, when does a defenseman hit his prime? Is it an age thing? Is it a games played thing?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Coached some really good ones, and they were good when they were 21, and they were good when they were calling me wanting to come back and play when they were in their 40s. So some pretty good ones.
There's a lot of bodies competing for that kind of depth defense role. Do you like what you've seen out of that competition so far?
We're trying to get our pairs figured out. It's not really depth. I think the depth is there, right? It's whether is that here or is that in with their anglers. So I think we're trying to get our pairs until we get Tanny back. Then it's, Mackenzie's moved right and left. Z's had a really good camp right from the start, so he's pushing for play higher and play more, play situations. So I think it's performance. There's 4 or 5 guys that'll be based on their performance over starting the next part of the preseason.
Is that where you see Kadri playing in the middle of that power play, kind of?
We got to we got to work on it, right? Something when you're basically working on it in games because it's just the way our practices or our game practice ratio has been. Haven't been able to do much of it, so we'll just see how it filters out. I've got different ideas in my head, and we wanted to, start with the 4 forwards and 1D, but I also think that McKenzie and Rask could be on the back could be really good too, and then figure out who the forwards were. So there's lots to work on, I think.